As well. Okay, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Saturdays for Sustainability Learning, and we all are connecting to understand sustainability or a part of it or a bit of it with a holistic way. And if this is your first session, so I'll just clear why in next 2-3 minutes so that it becomes clear and we all participate fully into this discussion. So this is nothing but a mastermind group where we try to understand from each other. It's a peer-to-peer mentoring and helping each other to see the other perspective that all of us, a unique perspective that we all bring with us, with our experience, and of course, input and advice from other members as well. So I understand time is the most valuable commodity that all of us have. So with this next 60 minutes, what outcome, what output you can get it, learning something new, concept or a part of it or aspect of it, networking with fellow professionals, then learning opportunities or career opportunities, and of course, a thought leadership where we can take sustainability discussion or the entire, let's say, if we talk about not only India but entire world, how we can support in that also. So, if you ask me two basic sentences which can define this discussion is, so first is DIKW pyramid, which is data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. So you can view it as a pyramid. And in today's time, we have more data, more information than we can possibly consume. We all can agree on that. And that's why, and especially in sustainability field, which is very dynamic. So each month, each week, there is some new report, there is something new coming. It's not humanly possible to read all these things and understand the application, but with the support of all of us, we can do so. So this is not an expert session. I'll tell you at start itself. So it's a co-learning space. So please feel free to add your insights, your experiences, and that will enrich this discussion for all of us. And second point, key point, this is discussion and question and answer. So it's a best way of learning. So please feel free to add your questions. There is no question as silly question and no answer as wrong answer. So please feel free to use this forum as a non-judgmental forum, so where you can speak whatever is in your mind. Okay. All right. So I hope as you have joined this session, so you have already registered, and this is just one time required. So if you are already registered, you are receiving calendar invites. No need to register again. But if you haven't, please register so that you will get the calendar invite notifications, and that's how it gets reminders to join the sessions, next sessions as well. And if not, that is also fine. You can watch it on YouTube also. All right. So with today's topic, we have one of the topic which is very misunderstood in sustainability domain, which is circular economy. Recently, I came across one report. This is a compendium of circular business model, and they have wonderful way of explaining basic concepts of circular economy. And at the end, they have given multiple case studies of implementation of circular economy. So it's a really valuable resource, I must say, and I'll also share that on screen. So this is a report, as you can see on the screen. So these are the two organizations, as you all of you know, FICCI, FICCI, and also this is a newly constituted, uh, we can say, institution, Resource Efficiency and Circular Economy Industry Coalition uh, in India to support the transition of industries into, let's say, if they want to implement circular economy, how they can do so. So with this too, and of course supported by Deloitte. So this is one of the resource, one of the report published in December 2024. So just 2 months back, I can say, and they have given wonderful first the summary thing and the basic ideas of circular economy and how that can be implemented. So that was really wonderful in this. And the second thing, which I like, is the practical implementation with sector wise. So we will go ahead with that. But before that, I would also like to share a couple of resources with you, and I'm sharing my screen. So I hope you can see now. This is one article, deconstructing five misconceptions about the circular economy. So what circular economy is not, and I find circular economy is the most misunderstood concept whenever I discuss about circular economy. So this article is really good, and you can read it in your free time. But just a few misconceptions. Just I want to go through it so that we can uh, see it in our report also. If we could find something on that. So circular economy is a new trend. If you think so, no, it's not. So though in 1990s there was one book, Cradle to Cradle, C2C, as you can see over here. So this was a wonderful book by Michael Brengard and William McDonough, and I've read this book. So this is a wonderful book. But after this book, only this circular economy concept got popularity. Hi, Srinidhi, you want to add something? Okay, no problem. All right. So this is a wonderful book, but mostly we think that from there we got this trend of circular economy, but it's not like that. So it has been always into the system. Mm. And circular business models are always sustainable. So this is not so. So this is not always true. Circular business model or circular economy models are always sustainable. There are many instances of that uh, to contradict this statement. So we need to understand this how. Then third myth is the circular economy will harm manufacturers. So this is the biggest concern for the manufacturers. So what they're saying is you want to let's say you are prolonging the product life. You want to reuse the product. You want to refurbish, remanufacture. So the smaller loop is the better reuse. So that will harm the manufacturer. So this is one of the biggest concern for manufacturing companies. So this is not so, and there are many innovations into that. So we can also see that. Myth number four is the circular economy is a fancy name for recycling. This is the biggest myth that I find in India. When we talk about circular economy, we always think about recycling, but it is not so. Uh, it's really contrary. Though initial steps or the low hanging fruits would be the recycling, of course, for implementation of circular economy, but we should not be just content with the low hanging fruits and the easy solutions. So, to achieve circular economy, it's much more than recycling and reuse. So, that is most important. And myth number five is the circular economy only works with change in consumer behavior. Not so. So multiple things are there, and with support and initiative from top down and bottom up. So both are given in this report. We will see that that is important. And this is also circular economy is not a panacea. Many had hoped for. So this is also one resource, and they have wonderful quotes on circular economy as well. So you can also search it on ADX, or I guess it's also on Coursera. So you can search that course. So this is also good. All right. So with this preliminary introduction, I'll also share these links with you so that you can read it in your free time. Yeah. So coming back to the report, and I hope you can see it on screen now. I'll just quickly skip this discussion, the introduction part, but just something I wanted to read is I'll just read these two paragraphs. Circular economy is one of the strategic pillars of sustainable development as it embodies the principle of productivity that is both environment friendly and resource efficient. Key national policies such as extended producer responsibility EPR and life mission life, that is lifestyle for environment initiative, which focuses on sustainable consumption, are driving this momentum in India. So circular economy as itself is not a solution. So it is one of the means to achieve sustainable development or environmental conservation. By adopting circular economy practices, industries can significantly reduce waste, lower their carbon emission, optimize resource use. This transition is essential not only to protect our environment but also to enhance industrial competitiveness, foster innovation, and align with India's broader climate objectives, including SDGs, the NDCs, the commitment that India has already committed. The establishment of Resource Efficiency and Circular Economy Industry Coalition during India's G20 presidency is a significant initiative, and it will play a key role in bringing together industry players to collaborate on advancing and embedding resource efficiency into the value chain. So, of course, circular economy will be important. And in this report, they have given 34 case studies, which will provide us how it has practically done, how it has practically worked for the organization across, and the sectors are from manufacturing to electronics to packaging. Multiple things are there, so we will just see a couple of ways of that, how they have done it. All right, so I'll just quickly move. Yeah, this paragraph also I would like to read. While circular models are still in their early stage of development, encouraging signs of progress are emerging across various industries. This report highlights this green shoot by reflecting on success stories and practical examples. By showcasing how some businesses are already reaping the benefit, it aims to inspire wider adoption. As more companies embrace these models, a positive flywheel effect can accelerate momentum and drive the broader uptake of circular initiatives across the economy. Ultimately, this will help businesses unlock new revenue streams, reduce operational costs, and enhance their long-term resilience. So, these are some of the maybe goals. Yeah. So instead of reading more things, so what I would like to do now is there are multiple good graphics into this report. So we'll just quickly go to that and I'll just read from that only. So this is circular economy, and for those if you are hearing this for the first time, or maybe you have studied it long back, so I'll just quickly define it for all of you. So the conventional model, which is take, make, and waste. So whatever we extract, the current linear economy model is we extract materials, we use it, and after use we just discard it. So there is a concept of waste, right? So after the use phase of the product, it just get, maybe there are two ways. Maybe it is added to the landfill or it is incinerated. But in both the cases, the value of the constituent element that gets lost, right? And in circular economy, if you see the model, so there is one more graphic from there are many reports. So one of the main graphic is, so for whatever product we have, there are two kind of constituents. One is biological, which can biodegrade, and second is technical, which we can, let's say, reuse and recycle, so it can come back again into the system. Technical ingredients. So the purpose of circular economy, so it's a umbrella concept, we can say. So circular economy is something where there is no concept as waste. So we try to recover the maximum value out of the product or out of this both the ingredients to stay into the system for as long as possible, so that there is no waste, and all these resources, all the processes are done with renewable energy, so that it is least harmful for the environment, so least impact on the environment. So that is a basic concept of circular economy. And if we understand as a process, so every organization, every industry is a process, right? So input, process, the value addition, and the output. So for whatever processes, we can understand that. So first is the energy component which we consume, so that will have the emissions, and second is the use phase, of course. But when we discard it, so that will have the maximum impact on the environment. So if we let's say stop these two, so by using the renewable energy first way, and the second way is the outgoing waste. So if we somehow take maximum value out of it, before it goes to incineration or landfill. So that becomes a circular economy model. And there are multiple ways of achieving it. There are three things that are major, or how it's done is, first is, I'll just quickly cover these three and then we will read it. So it will come either one of them. Okay. So how to do that is, the implementation of circular economy for industries, they have three options. First option is, they can reduce the material usage for the same outcome, for the same quality of work. So let's say earlier this pen used to, let's say, have approximate 100 grams of material. So now with the same outcome, we are just reducing it to, let's say, 80, and this saves the material. So ultimately, if it replaces the extraction of material, then this is a good thing. First thing, so thinning the material. The second one is, the use phase should be prolonged. So that is the second way. And third is, after doing this, so whatever waste was being thrown away, we just close the loop. So if we just consider the flow, so first we thinned it, right? So lesser material was used, then we elongated it, and now this elongated material we just closed, and this is now the circular economy model. So these are the only three options, and out of this, now we can see there are multiple ways how this can be done. So I'll just read couple of business models from that, and I hope you can see this on screen and you can read also, right? It's readable. So one is, circular inputs involves integrating waste material into the production cycle. And they have two models into that. One is aggregator model. So aggregation of front end waste workers provide input for recycling. So this is nothing but the third option that we just talked. So whatever the waste was going, you just close that loop, close that flow. And second is innovating recycling technology. So leveraging technology to boost the yield and efficiency for recycling. So how do we bring in technology and innovations into the recycling? So that is one way. That is circular inputs. Second is product as a service, P PaaS or PaaS. So this is very popular in circular economy and very efficient. It involves shifting from selling products to providing them as a service for a limited time, because the major thought process or the major assumption in industry is, or for the manufacturing is, the more you sell, the more profit that you get. And I guess there is a Moore's law, right? So after every couple of months or couple of years, so there was some time, the speed of your microprocessor doubled for computing power. And it states that in the same way, uh, for any other product as well. So they what manufacturers do is, the product they design for fail, so that next you purchase it. So for them, it's maximum you sell, maximum you get your revenue and the profit. So which is not good for the environment, and that's for product as a service, which involves shifting from selling product to providing them as a service for a limited time. So this is a mindset shifting from consumer to customer. So in a consumer mindset, we only consider as people as consumers. So they want to consume, and we will keep them consuming so that we are growing our organization. Instead of that, shifting them from consumer to customer. So this is one way. Then third is product use extension, increasing the lifespan and utility of product through innovative design and alternative materials. How you can use the usable life of the product, how you extend it. And it involves two ways. So innovative design, creating better products to lower carbon footprint, and second is material transition, replacing harmful raw materials with more sustainable ones. So these are the two ways. Then resource recovery, it involves efficient extraction of valuable materials or energy from products that have reached the end of their useful life. So this is a resource recovery. Maybe we can say as a reuse or refurbished or remanufacture. So all this comes under resource recovery. So this has to be thought into the manufacturing process. How we can have the least travel for the material. So the least would be better. So for example, if you can just reuse the product, that is better compared to refurbishment. For refurbishment, it has to go to the, let's say, maybe shop or maybe factory, then it gets refurbished, and again that has to travel. So travel is there. But if it is just reuse with minimum, let's say, maintenance, so it's better. Then after refurbish also, if you remanufacture, that is you take some of the resources and then use it for the next product, so that also requires more effort. So resource recovery should be with the least maybe travel or the least energy expanded into that. And the last is sharing platform, which encourages efficient resource usage by providing platforms, online or physical, for sharing of product and services among users. So these are some of the circular business models, and organizations have to think about where they can fit in, where they can use these models, or they can innovate the models as well. So it's not just about these listed over here, but these are just some of the guidelines and some of the case stories, some organizations which have already shown us that it can be done, and they have shown the profit as well, which made business case, and that's how we can see some of the options there over here. Yeah, Siddesh, please.
So, what I was and just because the report, of course, has few examples, but if we go through one example about is like you must have seen this mosquito repellent packs, right? Which you
Mhm.
put in the electricity board, and there is a
Right.
refill pack that you get. So
Right.
it's made of a plastic, right? And you have to just throw it away, and you have to keep buying those. So there's
Right.
all these options, like the above one. There's so much
Right.
potential for innovation in that area that it's sad to see that companies are not doing whatever they're charging. Maybe they can reduce the kind of money from buying from the customer. They can also reduce the cost because
Yeah, and it's
there's so much
beneficial
potential
for
for
them.
innovation in such areas. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
sad that it's not happening in the and it should that is created because of this is like crazy.
Yeah. And thanks for adding that comment, Siddesh, because one of the options, because you can see many case stories on that, but one particularly which was related to the case you shared. I guess it was GIZ only. Just a minute, I'll just check. I read it somewhere. Just a minute.
They don't have to create any plan filling those, right? So anyway, you're saving the cost of create manufacturing new plastic thing. So
Yes. So this was the case story. Okay, so as you can see, this is GIZ. Okay, so this is just a minute. They dispense 6,229 liters of home care products, reducing approximately 705 kg of waste, saved 5 lakh 4,717 grams of CO2 equivalent of emissions, established over 100 business partnership, and gained 1,500 regular household customers. So what they did, so it was refilling of the what was it? Home care product. So maybe it's washing detergents or washing the cleaners that we use. So it was one of the uh, solution. Can you
I
see
would
it?
like
Yeah.
to, yeah, I would like to add one more point in this regard, which is
Mm-hmm.
also under discussion and people accept it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very old tradition of our culture. It's called minimalistic life. For
Right.
example, in today's world, like no, when we were young, we were having only one toys and we were 10 children were playing. Now one children's having 10, 15, 12, unlimited.
And
And
no one to play with.
no one to play with, and everything is getting wasted. So
Yeah.
as we are working for this circular economy, which is undoubtedly very important, at the same time, from cultural front, we should also promote and educate people about the minimalistic life, which nowadays people say Japanese way of life, but in our country we have been practicing it for thousands of years. So that may be a kind of silent game changer, I would say, because you don't do anything, but you really impact a lot.
All right. Mindful consumption, and yeah, that's really required.
And just to
Siddesh, I guess there is some network issue with your system. I'm not sure. You're not audible now, and there is some
and
intermittent
yeah, so can you
disruption also. Is it for others also?
Yeah, I
I
can't
have
hear.
some network. I think I have some network issues today. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what I was telling, if you look at the mosquito repellent example, right? So
Mm-hmm.
global warming is happening, because of which number of mosquitoes will increase and keep on increasing, and because of climate change, of course, and then because of that, it'll keep having more mosquito repellents, and that is going to cause more climate change. So it's like these circles are getting bigger and bigger and more stronger.
Mm.
And unless we, as sir told, that we are to either go minimalistic or circular economy, but what are we going to do? That's the challenge, and we have to take some route, right? Uh,
Yeah. And that's how I look at it. So the circular economy. So let's say if this report also, so it's not only about some of the case stories and how that is economically, let's say, beneficial for them, but as initially in the introduction itself, so they have said, right? So this report or the circular economy should enable us to achieve, let's say, sustainable development goals, maybe responsible production and consumption, and at the same time mission lifestyle for environment. So what Pradeep sir told, right? So it's minimalistic or frugal life or mindful consumption. So that's if while learning or while teaching circular economy, if we could instill that kind of belief, that would be the best outcome of circular economy, I guess.
Kulkarni sir,
Yes, Murli sir, please.
now when we talk of circular economy as
Mm-hmm.
such
Mm-hmm.
versus linear economy, we are talking about the economy as a whole. That means starting from extraction of a material, manufacturing, usage, and we don't allow the material to go to landfill, which becomes a linear economy. Here we are trying to do various alternatives. It could be recycling, it could be reuse, it could be increasing life, etc., etc. Or
Right.
what they call it as upcycling in simple terms. Now, one of the models, the early models, if you see, which has come, I think you have discussed earlier also, was
Right.
the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's
Right.
butterfly diagram.
Right.
The butterfly diagram, if you just can trace it and show, that
Yes.
gives a clear idea as to what requires to be done for the circular economy. It talks about the biological ingredient and the technological ingredient. Biological ingredient are those from the nature and how nature is able to recoup itself or regenerate itself in spite of so much of ups and downs which are there, and life still prevails. Accordingly, the same concept is getting extended to the technological world or a product world, wherein all these product as service, recycling, repair, or anything else comes in. Now, it has multiple facets when we look at it. Like, for example, in France, they have come up with a legislation recently telling if any of your equipment is under repair, okay, your laptop is under repair, you take it and get it repaired, the government will pay you money, a small sum. Okay. This is the way they are trying to encourage the consumer behavior. And because of their culture, if you see an example like jeans, jeans is mostly worn by Westerners. I mean, now in India also. Now, jeans manufacturing, it results in one jeans to manufacture, the water footprint itself is 3,900 liters or more than that, one pair. Now, this is becoming too much for them because they use it for 1 month and throw it. So one company came up, what is called as the mud jeans, MUD. If you see the website, you will get. So he gives the jeans on hire. You wear the jeans and afterwards you give it back to them at a price and you buy new one. And the company will take care of it and do whatever this thing, upcycling if it is possible. So these are like the third one, if you see, is interesting thing is Fairphone, Fairphone, which has come, wherein when you want to improve or you don't want to use this phone, get a new phone. The new phone will be given and all those products will be used for upgrading the new phone. So it has its own clientele. So multiple, what I meant to say is multiple requirements will have to be looked into when you see the circular economy, when we discuss the principle of circular economy. So in order to find out how circular you are as a company or how circular the product is, they have come up with what is called as the circularity metrics. Okay, there is a standard, I think DSI 16,000 or something, I forget the name, which gives an idea of how much percentage. For example, if we look at a Volvo car which is manufactured, the law itself says, because of extended producer responsibility, minimum recyclability of the car must be around greater than 90%. So that means 90% of the materials cannot go to landfill. It cannot be thrown out. Maybe scrapping of paint and other things, that has to go, but other glass material and every other thing must be reusable, must be reused. So that is what is the law of the land, like in Scandinavian countries. So one of the, if we look at some of the countries which are innovators in this, one is Finland, then we have Netherlands, and of course somebody was mentioning Japan and other countries. So these countries are having regulations as a part of the requirement. When the product is designed, you have to design how circular it is. If it is not circular, then the product will not be allowed to be sold within the market itself. So a lot of what I meant to say to this thing, to consolidate, what I wanted to tell is these are all looked at, number one, through regulations, number two, through design, number three, through consumer behavior, and number four, the necessity of it. Like like as you said, the shampoo being given in the truck and whatnots. Okay, it has a lot of liabilities attached to them. Suppose if the shampoo is contaminated, okay, and somebody puts a case in Indian circumstances, who is liable for that? Where did it get contaminated? How will you trace it? So these are all many challenges which are there when we look at the circular economy part of it. So regulations play an important part. And just to finally, what I wanted to tell is there are two interesting materials which
Mm.
are infinitely recyclable, and they are the best for circular economy if you look at it. Number
Mhm.
one is glass. So
Right.
glass can be, when it is broken, you can recycle it infinite number of times. That is why many of these new buildings, what you see is all glass, mall and other office buildings have a lot of glass because it can easily be thrown rather than wood and other things.
All
It
right.
is easy to install and use that. Second is aluminium. So this is what they have told, that it can be recycled infinitely. That is why many of these automakers, other people, they want to come up with aluminium engines. The
Mhm.
coaches are made of aluminium sheets because it is a lightweight material. So all
Right.
other properties. So when we look at the model part of it, what you are explaining, yes, absolutely. But what they are now looking at is the metrics, the level of circularity in
Right.
terms of either percentage or satisfying certain indicators. So this is the way it is moving. As somebody was telling, it is not something as a new concept. If we see in our own house, if a shirt is torn, we use it as a handkerchief and then towel. It goes on till the end. Then we goes to a municipal waste. So
Right.
that sort of a informal approach has been there in Indian context. If you
Agree.
see, somebody was telling all these flowers from temples, they
Mhm.
are being gathered and somebody makes it as agarbatti
Right.
and he is able to sell, and the entrepreneur is able to make monthly 1.5 lakhs from waste flowers simply collected in Bombay from the temples in selected areas. So
Yeah.
that means the potential for circularity is huge, but it is only that the support and the other infrastructure and the market and other things, that is not there. So this is why it becomes still that we use and throw many of the things. So that culture is there. So lot of initiatives are being taken now to see how to make this, and it will become soon a mandatory requirement. The
Mhm.
detriment, if you see,
Mhm.
is the cartel of business. If you look at the packaged water, like
Right.
Bisleri or Aquafina, they find it easier to leave it and people
Mhm.
throw it everywhere.
Right.
But if a law comes that you have to take back all these plastic bottles and do whatever possible, upskill it or do something, that
Extended
they don't
producer
want to accept.
responsibility. Yeah.
It is an opposition by the manufacturers because it
Mhm.
adds to the burden and the liability, every other aspect. So when we look at Indian situation, it's rather very complex. And you
Mhm.
look at variety of products which are there. But companies like Patagonia, if you see that,
Yeah.
making textiles, they use 90% recycled materials, or it has come to nearly 100%. So they are making very huge profits and they have customers for that. So various aspects will have to be looked at. What I meant to say through this is you have various models given, correct? So it's easy to write pictures and put it, and A plus B is equal to C and
Yeah,
whatnots. But implementation wise, you require a lot of the peripheral support, auxiliary support, and also the regulatory framework, which must be effective. So that's what I thought I will just share with you. Thank
agree,
you.
agree, sir. 100% agree, sir.
Yeah, maybe I can. I'd like to add a little bit. This
Please.
is the point which was mentioned by Murali sir. Both the points are really extremely important. The infinitely circulable material. There are a few other materials also like steel and all, but the concept is important. This is very. But this entrepreneurship of circulation, one of the important material is plastic. It always is more problematic. Now here, I think all eyes should be on plastic circulation, especially the packaging plastics. You know, if you're having heavy plastics, possibly it is easier, but all this folia, this that is very packaging plastic, covering plastics and all these things, because they are not really economically. The density is very small, and so far they're not very attractive for any investor to recycle it. So there comes the real challenge of some innovation or some support, whatever it is, that tackles both the recirculation as well as the environmental issue. So they are all connected. So I don't know anybody has any idea or any not idea any information, any companies doing things in that area. The heavy plastics, there are many companies are doing. They're making plastic globules and they're being reused for secondary product.
And one of the biggest challenge with plastic is, means, I read it in Cradle to Cradle book itself. So that's where I got to know. Currently, there are so many chemicals, so many additives are added to plastic. Even an engineer or even a scientist can't accurately 100% tell us that, okay, so this is a plastic and these are the additives, these are the chemicals which are added to this plastic. So this is so complex, and this adds complexity for the recycling. So that was one of the idea that I have, but maybe solution wise how to do that, I am also not very sure as of now. But
Yeah, maybe bio-based feedstock for plastic is the one, and recycled plastic from the ocean, where Intel, Apple are producing the recycled plastic mouse, recycled plastic Dell, like a laptop, all the that is the one. And again, no, like Trump yesterday has signed one more agreement on the allowing plastic once again. Not, yeah, again, it's about debating plastic versus glass, but equally, plastic has also more advantage when compared to glass.
yeah, agree. But one thing that we can agree is effective management of plastic is the necessity of maybe next few decades. Otherwise, it would be really difficult. And nowadays, microplastic, yeah, Siddesh, type microplastic getting released while recycling. So this is a big debate. And personally, my opinion is not very positive with plastic recycling and reusing plastic, because to be frank, I'm not sure what chemicals are there, and how health wise, what will be the consequences health wise in long run. So that is just one concern that I have. But maybe uh, some good solutions will also come up in that.
Yeah, I
But
think
yes.
one of the things I can think of is while the solution or while people come up with better ways to make a circularity possible. I think people should at least half the time if you refuse, that in itself is a big saving.
All right. Yeah.
Here also comes like user behavior. That's very important. That if you want to go for shopping, better to take your bag like what you used to do when you were young. There's no plastic like we used to go with a bag and shop and come back. But now we get everything in plastic pack.
Very true.
Yeah.
So
And
in this reuse, reduce, recover, recycle, right? I think we should include those things as well. Refuse
refuse.
and
Yeah.
repair, refuse, repair. All those things could be added.
Yeah, and interestingly, there are some models now. Earlier, it was only 3 R's, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle. So these were the conventional 3 R's, which government also advertised during news and all. But
Yeah,
now that added to 4, 5, 6, 7 R's. So starting from refuse and the maximum impact. So it's an inverted triangle. So maximum impact it has refuse. So if you just
12,
refuse it,
12 hours, Dhananjay, 12 hours.
sorry,
wow.
12 hours, Dhananjay, it has gone
12
to
hours. Okay.
12.
Which are 12? Just a minute. Let's check now. But ultimately, it should change behavior. So that is the 12 hours of recycling. Let's see.
I think that will keep getting increasing. Like in next 50 years, we will have 1,000 hours. The way things are going.
Yeah, because this is the mind shift, right? So if people have mind shift, then it is easier. So with this 3R only, we could have done it if mind shift could be that easy. But people in general, we require some support, some coaxing to change our behavior, and that's why I guess this has to delineate each. Like you refuse it if you don't need it. So let's read at least 12. Refuse, rethink, reduce, reuse, repair, refurbish, remanufacture, repurpose, recycle, research, redesign, and recover. Okay, all right. Some of them are more doable or practical in organizations like remanufacture. Oh no, we can do it in our lives also. So repurpose is maybe upcycle.
Also to it, like retain what we have, not
Yeah,
throw it in a
yeah,
waste.
I also just can compare like refurbish. Refurbish was a kind of part of life in our society earlier.
Yeah.
But now people don't want to refurbish, they just want to buy new things. Maybe this is a kind of marketing, they're always coming with new features, new attractions, new color, and people really don't like to use the old one because whether it is furniture or whatever it is. So uh, this is a kind of the business psychology has created that shift.
Yeah.
One is technology change,
Mhm. Yes, yes,
and
please.
and this obsolescence are now planned, I will say, because
Yeah, and
when
now
the producers are planning obsolescence before they introduce a new product, so that how their customers will find the old product is obsolete. They're designing the product, the psychology, the advertisement, everything in such a way. And the gains may be marginal, but people will be attracted to change.
yeah, and I guess it's in Europe or where I'm not sure, but the planned obsolescence is now being considered for a penal action against organizations. So if they are having this plan obsolescence just to keep sales moving for more revenue, and if that process is hurting environment, so that is again it's in thinking. I'm not sure whether it is legal or not. Regulation is passed.
Can you see the example of planned obsolescence, one or two? Then we can.
Yeah, sure. Making goods irreparable. So this is completely against circular economy. So what circular economy talks about, uh, you have to keep the least circle, right? So that's important. So in circular economy, if we talk about design for circular economy, it comes like you prepare or you manufacture, you design in such a way that these are modules. So modular concept. If one module gets damaged, so you can just repair it. So repairable is one of important. Then having modules, having upgrade option for that. So making goods irreplaceable is something plan obsolescence. So you have to replace everything, the entire product itself. Artificial durability is second. Flimsy material to manufacture parts that are subject to wear and tear. In the case of computers, the time comes when you can no longer upgrade the software because it is not compatible. This
Yes.
is
One
artificial
of the
durability.
classic examples, Dhananjay, I can think of is I think iPhone had to pay a huge fine because they were deliberately slowing down the older iPhones with a slower what do you call operating system, and so
Oh,
they
is
they
that so?
they deliberately slowed it down, and so I think they had a $500 million fine or something that was levied on them by a US court.
F1 for planned obsolescence. Ah, yeah, found it.
Yeah.
25 million euros.
This is in UK. I think they also paid fine in US.
Oh,
First it was UK and then in the US.
Now, similarly, like Microsoft is changing their operating systems every like 7-8 years, and then they are saying the old computer doesn't work. So
I think the best business opportunity would be when if somebody makes
mm.
phone almost phone as a service or something like that.
Yeah, and
It's already
Fairphone
there
has
in the
done that.
US. Yeah, it's already
Uh-huh.
there in the US. They take it